So if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you might be thinking that you don't need SOPs yet, but I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why you should start implementing them today. So hi, my name is Dayana. I'm an operations and growth strategist, and I help small business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself to be able to help to scale their businesses efficiently and effectively through building high-performing teams as well as automating their systems and processes. So let's get into it. Number 1, people think that you don't need SOPs when you're starting out because you're only one person. Well, the goal for most businesses is to be able to grow. Whether you're wanting to grow to just having a team of 10 or just having a team of 2, or even if you want to have over 100 team members one day. Whatever it is, the goal is for you to be able to scale efficiently and effectively and as quickly as possible. So I'm going to help you today with exactly why you want to be having SOPs from the get-go. So number 1 is going to be efficiency and consistency. If you're building those SOPs, you're documenting those processes, and when you see those documented, then you can go back and iterate them. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to see things at a bird's eye view, regardless of what the process is. So it makes you look at it from an objective standpoint. You already see the process written out, so it makes it a lot easier for you to just be able to continue to duplicate that process. Even if for whatever reason, maybe you're not feeling well one day and you're a little bit out of it and you're trying to still get some work done, especially as a solopreneur, regardless of if we're sick or if we just don't feel like working that day, we still have to put in that work. So it makes it easier for you to be able to have some consistency in the background for whatever the process is that you're trying to carry out. Number 2 would be knowledge transfer. Like I said before, we always want to be able to grow for scalability. And so we want to make sure that whatever we're putting into place is scalable. The worst thing we can possibly do is have an inefficient process that we have to continue doing manually on a regular basis. That's not scalable. We want something that is going to be a repeatable process that we can duplicate over and over and over and over. And so when you're documenting your SOPs and having things written down in, rather it's a database, it could be I know like Notion, ClickUp, those types have actually knowledge bases where you can put all of your SOPs in there. So that way when people join your company during the onboarding process, you can simply just upload it and say, hey, go to this knowledge base. This is where all of your information is going to be housed. And it makes it really clean and simple for them. But it also makes it a lot easier whenever you're hiring for delegating. So it makes it easier for you to see, okay, these are the tasks that I have. These are the things that I can delegate to someone else. Here is a clear process that is proven that I can just give over to someone else, and that makes their lives and your life, excuse me, it makes your life so much easier because you don't have to worry about going back and helping them or going back and answering little questions that might just be within the process itself that you've already documented. Number 3 is going to be going hand in hand with that. That's going to be training and onboarding. So whenever you have new team members that are joining, again, direct them directly to the knowledge base with all of the documented SOPs. It also gives them a reference for how they need to be able to create their own SOPs for moving forward, because the goal is standard operating procedures. When you're creating those are living and breathing documents. Those are not just one and done. You don't just do it and then that's it and you never look at it again. Those are living and breathing. And so that's why on my templates I always have last updated by. That way I know if there's any inconsistencies that I might see, then I can go back to the direct person who made the standard operating procedure and ask them, hey, I'm not seeing this, or I'm not seeing that, or I know that you changed it on this date. What was the reason for the change? And so it makes it easier for you to have a paper trail to be able to go back to that person. And so during the onboarding process, you want to be able to have access to be able to give that person, the new team member, access to the knowledge base so that way they can start going through. Also, one of the things that helps with having standard operating procedures, especially when you're hiring, is putting together the roles and responsibilities. So you might not know right off the bat what you want to call this person. You might not know right off the bat all of the things that you want them to do. But if you have 5 to 10 core responsibilities for them, then it makes it a lot easier to be able to figure out what their role is within the company, what type of KPIs they need to be keeping track of, and what KPIs they're going to be helping the company with that's more helping with your bottom line and revenue generating. And so I just encourage, if you have not started yet, to definitely just start. and do it slowly. It can be very overwhelming to start documenting standard operating procedures, but just take your time, especially when you're a team of one. Don't stress yourself out with it. Use other resources. So even if it's like a voice memo where you're talking into your phone, and I know there's a lot of softwares out there where you can actually transcribe things, like Otter AI is one. I know Loom transcribes. I know Zoom transcribes. I know Fathom, if you're in the middle of a meeting, it also will transcribe and take notes for you. So all of those resources are great to be able to utilize, especially if you're wanting to just get the information out of your brain, put it onto some form of a document, and then you can go back and actually put that into ChatGPT, help it to give you some form of a framework to work with, and then utilize that framework and edit it accordingly. So you don't have to completely start from scratch, because I know that can be a very daunting task, and I know that you have a lot of other things going on. But I would say to take that time out, because it will be more beneficial for you in the future. The fourth thing is going to be safety and compliance. So sometimes we might not think of safety. We might think of like OSHA, or we might think of, oh, we don't want someone to fall down the stairs or something like that. No, it might not even be physically safe. It might be making sure that you're within compliance of the rules and regulations. And so you need to carry out a certain process, a certain way, to make sure that you stay in compliance with whatever the rules and regulations are that might be industry specific. So certain industries have different things that they have to be careful what they do, or if it's like around texting people or sending them ringless voicemails, things of that nature, you do have to be really careful with those things. And so if you have a standard operating procedure of what process they need to follow, and putting at the end of it the scope, so telling them exactly why they need to follow this process to be able to remain within compliance within whatever the rule or regulation is, that helps for your company to overall be safe and more protected, because you do not want to have to end up in a lawsuit. Sometimes people say it's inevitable, but I do believe that it might be inevitable eventually, depending on the size that you get, but you can also do the certain things to put things in place to avoid getting into that predicament. So we want to do more preventative measures at this time instead of reactive measures. And then fifth would be confidence and stress. So it's going to dramatically increase the confidence of you and your team and reduce your stress, because if you have a process that you know everyone's following, it's very clear, it's very clean cut, it's very objective, so there's nothing open to interpretation, or very little open to interpretation, then that is overall going to increase the confidence of the team member that's going to be carrying it out, which also should help to reduce your stress. So you won't have to be worried about, okay, are we in compliance with whatever this rule and regulation is? Are we following the rule that I set? Like, no, it's very clean cut. So it also makes it easy, because if someone is not following that step-by-step guide that you've already given them, that is grounds for, okay, let's have a conversation. We need to have a conversation, because clearly we're not on the same page. It allows for clarity within the team to know, this is the process that we follow, this is why we follow it. And if someone's not following it, then they know that they will also be held accountable. And standard operating procedures, I've seen them be implemented and not carried out. And I think it's important to make sure that you are following up on those and having some type of quality control within your organization to make sure that people are following the rules and guidelines that you set, because it can be easy to just get in the mundane tasks and get used to doing something and then maybe just skip a step. Well, that step could be the most pivotal step in the entire process. And if you skip that, that could be very detrimental to the company. Rather it's you, rather it's a team member, whoever it is. And so you want to make sure that you are following up and actually seeing it through, making sure that people are following the process that you set in place, because you set it there for a reason. Always consider the intentionality behind your processes. So any process that you might have within the organization, whether it's answering an email, if you want to answer by a certain time, if you want to answer within a certain time period, if you want them to check their emails multiple times a day, document all of it. It really just helps to keep you accountable. It helps to keep them accountable. And then whenever there is any type of disagreement between what they thought was expected versus what it was, you can literally tell them, hey, this is within in your standard operating procedures. You can't tell me that you did not know. I gave this to you on day one. these are your responsibilities, these are your tasks, your projects, etc. So this is what I expected of you, and I told you this from day one, and it makes it a lot easier of a conversation because you've already set yourself up as the business owner for success with your team. So I do encourage you to implement standard operating procedures for yourself right now to help to keep you accountable and then to make it even easier for you to be able to scale in the future. So if you felt like this was helpful, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm on day 18 of 100 on my 100-day challenge for posting every single day. So I will see you all tomorrow.